You know, there was a time when people had access to hospitals, to medicines, and to doctors also, but their drinking water was contaminated. You know what happened? Very quickly, all the diseases like cholera, typhoid, dysentery, they all began to spread. And then suddenly people realized that health doesn't only depend on us doctors, it also depends on something as basic as clean water. And that's why water is such an important topic for public health dentistry also. Today, let's try and understand this step by step as to what really is the importance of water. First, let's talk about why water is so important for the human body. One, water is essential for life. Our body can't function without it. We all know this. Water plays several important roles in our body. It helps the digestion happen, it helps metabolism, it helps in temperature regulation, it helps in transportation of all the nutrients, and it helps remove the waste products in our body. From a public health perspective though, water is important because safe drinking water will prevent many infectious diseases. So let's decode this step by step. First, what are the sources of water that humans usually consume? One is surface water. So the examples of this are our rivers, our lakes, our ponds. These sources are more prone to contamination and they usually require treatment before drinking. Then we have another source, that's our groundwater. This is our wells, our springs, our boreholes. So they're generally safer than the surface water, but they also may contain chemical contaminants like arsenic or fluoride. Then we have our rainwater. Relatively, rainwater is pure, but it can become contaminated very quickly. While even the collection or the storage of rainwater, it can become contaminated. And in some areas, it is collected through roof harvesting systems also. Then the next source is desalinated water. In coastal areas where there is fresh water is very scarce, the seawater can be desalinated. The salt water, they can try and remove the salt from it and make it usable or suitable for drinking. However, this is a very expensive process. So now you might wonder, like, how much water does an average adult even need? On an average, an adult requires 2 to 3 liters of water per day. However, this requirement may vary a lot. It will vary on the climate. Like if it's a hot day, you'll want to drink more. If it's colder, if it's winter, you'll drink less. The level of physical activity that the person's been through. After a gym session, you really need to drink water. But after some Netflix and chill, water is not the first thing on your mind. And also depending on a person's age, a person's health status, all these things can influence the amount of water that a person would need. Now let's look at what happens when this water becomes contaminated. So water pollution refers to contamination of water with physical, chemical or biological impurities. The major causes for this will include our industrial waste, it includes our sewage discharge, any agricultural runoff, that's like the pesticides and fertilizers that run down with rainwater, or when they water the plants they'll run down, right? Also there'll be some waste from livestock, not much, but it's still significant amount. So polluted water becomes a major source for disease transmission. Now what are these diseases that can transmit through contaminated water? Let's look at that. Now several diseases spread through contaminated water, like our bacterial disease like cholera, typhoid, dysentery, and then we have our viral diseases like hepatitis A, E and polio. We have a protozoal diseases like amoebiasis and giardiasis, helminthic diseases like guinea worm disease, and in dentistry we'll have excess fluoride can cause dental fluorosis. These diseases, what they highlight is the importance of safe drinking water, right? Now when we talk about water related diseases, there's an interesting it is interesting that water can affect health in more ways than just contaminated drinking water. And for this, you might want to write this down. A public health researcher named Wagner, Edward Wagner, he pointed out that water influenced diseases in multiple ways and not just through contaminated drinking water. So he said that he's given a classification that they are basically diseases occur also when there is not enough water for hygiene, or when diseases are linked to any aquatic organisms, or when there are insects that breed in the water. So he had classified it like waterborne diseases and water washed diseases. This is the lack of water for oral hygiene. This will cause disease like skin infections and diarrheal infections, and then water related insect vector diseases like malaria, dengue, etc. What this did was it helped the public health professionals kind of understanding that improving health doesn't only mean clean water to drink. It also means enough water supply. It also means sanitation, and it also means environmental control. These are also our next topics that we're going to look upon. But for drinking water, there are some standards that it must meet. Let's look at that now. This is also very, very important for NEET. Organizations like the WHO and BIS, which is the Bureau of Indian Standards, they gave some guidelines. They say that drinking water should have acceptable color, taste and odor. That's our smell. And then the chemical limits like fluoride should be less than 1 or to 1.5 ppm. Microbial activity should, the microbial quality should be there. So there should not be any coliform bacteria in 100 ml of drinking water. Talking about the fluoride levels in water, it's a very important thing for dentistry. The optimal fluoride level, like we said, is 1 to 1.5 ppm. And if the fluoride levels exceed this range, it can cause fluorosis. And if it's decreased, if it's below 0.5 ppm, there's a risk of dental caries, or the risk of dental caries will increase. So maintaining the right fluoride level is very important. Now we're saying we need to maintain fluoride level. We're saying that there are standards of water. So what are these methods by which the water can become pure and drinkable and safe? So firstly, there's the household level and then the community level. For household, you want to do boiling. That will kill the bacteria, viruses and parasites. Then we have filtration, which will suspend the solids, and we have chemical disinfection such as chlorination or iodine, and we have solar disinfection. On the community level though, or before we say that, boiling over here is the simplest method. It's also the most effective. It will kill the bacteria, it will kill the viruses, the parasites. It's also something we can do on our own. On the community level though, large scale treatments are used. They include steps that have like sedimentation, coagulation and flocculation, filtration, chlorination and disinfection. These we've all learnt from when we were young. What this will try and do is, after the treatment, water is distributed through safe pipeline systems. Now let's talk about water conservation. In many parts of the world, water scarcity is becoming a major concern, and the conserving of this water is extremely important. So let's just talk about a few methods of how we can conserve water. Firstly, obviously, rainwater harvesting and having efficient irrigation techniques for farmers, and then fixing leaks in any pipelines. This is as important as collecting water, because if you're collecting water on the one side, you're treating it and then sending it to the pipelines, and then there is leaks on the other side, there's really no point. And finally, public awareness. We want, water conservation. What it tries to do is tries to make sure that there is sustainable water that's available for the future generations. Now let's see what the dental relevance of water is. One of the most important preventive strategies is community water fluoridation. We will see this in detail in the next, but right now I'll give you a gist. It helps reduce the prevalence of dental caries in population. So dentists are involved in monitoring fluoride levels, in studying fluorosis prevalence, and also educating communities about safe water consumption. So water quality directly affects oral health as well as general health. Now, what are the key linkages? See this. Water is essential for life and public health. We have understood this. This is like a small little recap. So the quality and quantity of water is also important. It's crucial because it helps us it helps us prevent disease. And fluoride, this is the key connection between water and dental health. And about water safety, this is fundamental duty of any public health person or any dentist also, for that example. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Water is not just a basic human need. It is one of the most important determinants of public health, and safe water really prevents infectious diseases. Proper fluoride levels help prevent the dental caries, and therefore, supply of water is, or safe supply of water is also the public responsibility of public health dentistry. That's why understanding the water quality, water purification, and fluoride levels is so important, even in our profession. Now, if this topic was easy to understand and gain perspective of why it's even important for you to know about all this, I want you to go to the app now and finish the flashcards there. And if you can put this topic aside with the confidence that you'll be able to answer it in the exam, that's my aim and goal all done here in Medi Study Go. Also, I want you to write all of those extra points, the key linkages here. I want you to write anything that matters for you. It will really give an edge over your peers. Now, let's also take a look at an MCQ and a flashcard from this topic. Firstly, name some protozoal waterborne diseases. Amoebiasis, giardiasis. Which water purification method is used at community level? A. Boiling, B. Domestic filtration, C. UV purification, and D. Chlorination. Now, I want to explain this. In the previous video also, we've gone through this. Usually with an MCQ, at least to an easy to mid-level MCQ, what will happen is, or what the neat trap is, that it's usually easy to eliminate two options. Maybe you're left with two. Let's take this for example itself. You can easily eliminate boiling because that is essentially an individual level, and you can also eliminate domestic filtration because the word domestic would essentially mean not on community level, on individual level. But you might get confused with UV purification and chlorination. That's why you need to understand the concept and not mug up things. The answer here is chlorination. And why? Because community level water purification commonly uses chlorination to disinfect large water supplies and prevent waterborne diseases. Now, here in Medi Study Go, we like to give our MCQs and flashcards with explanations also wherever it's needed. So it's like your one-stop shop for your exam needs. I want you to go now and finish the rest of the flashcards and MCQs while the concept is still fresh in your mind. If you're still somebody who's looking for the book, please go and purchase it on you can purchase it on our website. You can purchase it on Amazon, Flipkart, Dental Cart, anywhere. Also, if you are confused or if you want to ask something personally, you can DM us. You can put the questions below in the comments. You can DM us in Instagram. In my opinion, all this subject really needs is some structure, and you will see that bigger picture. And my attempt today is just that. So I will see you in the next topic.